Welcome to the Run to Remember Challenge Coaches Box. I'm Amanda Reeves, Operations Manager here at Hands Across the Water, and your host. Today I'm joined by Steve Chapman, the visionary founder of Hyro, a revolutionary hydration solution designed to keep people moving, thriving, and performing at their peak. To all our listeners, hydration is essential. Whether you're running virtually or cheering Peter on from afar, don't forget to check out Hyro and join us in this Run to Remember challenge to make an impact for children at Hands. Hey, Steve, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Let's kick off this chat today. I'd love to hear a little bit about what your story is, who's Steve, and how did you get to where you are in the creation of Hyro?
I guess probably relevant for this chat is, I was selling energy drinks for the last probably 7-8 years. And whilst they were amazing from an energy productivity perspective, I'm personally very passionate about my health and my fitness. And, I was realizing that I was clearly missing this huge part of my life of hydration, and particularly what that meant to me and to the human body is, it's such a powerful way to feel better or to feel worse. Is impacting, poor hydration could be impacting my sleep. It could be impacting my skin or my mood or my fatigue. So when I start going down this rabbit hole of, being in the beverage space already, but then combining that on a personal front with, I love doing endurance things, maybe not as much as Pete, but, Ironman or triathlons or endurance races or 50 milers or marathons more recently, where hydration and proper electrolytes specifically with water makes such a big difference, not just for the endurance athlete, but also for the everyday person. So for me, I thought massive opportunity. Why isn't there something that's healthy in the market, that's low sugar, that's natural, and that tastes good as well? So went out to create a product that I would use and love. And so far, thousands of other people are loving it too.
Yeah, I love that. And you're right, not everyone's as crazy as Pete doing this incredible challenge. Can you share a little bit more about your personal fitness journey? You talked about marathons recently, but were you always active as a kid? Were you always physical? What sort of took you into that journey to get you to running a marathon?
For sure. I always love sports, probably because I have an older brother and he's just a great worthy competitor from a young age. So we were always racing around the house or racing the football field, or I think we played every sport under the sun as kids, but kind of committed on rugby where I went, and as part of training, get into the weight room, get into fitness and strength, running became a big part of that. So I feel like I'd been running now for the last 15 or so years before maybe the explosion of it more recently, through COVID and run clubs and all this kind of stuff. I've always just found it's like a super nice way to disconnect, to calm the central nervous system, to stay healthy, to stay fit. And then there's a part of my brain that signs up to, very long races like backyard blitzes, I've done 87K runs, 82Ks, and an Ironman at one point with triathlon kind of era, so to speak. So, but more recently, very much into pure play marathons. I'm trying to crack the sub 3. It just came back from New York Marathon. I ran a 3 hour and 7 second.
That's impressive. That's
race.
Really impressive.
So wish it was 8 seconds faster, but I was very happy with the 3 hour marathon in the end.
Absolutely. You should be very proud of yourself. And I think, that sibling rivalry and the competitiveness really set the tone for you, right? In regards to really pushing yourself and trying to be bigger and better, and particularly when you've got older siblings.
Yeah. It's competitive from birth, I think.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. So what makes Hyro different? There's the market is saturated with, mixed messaging of what hydration is, what's an electrolyte, what makes Hyro different?
For sure. And to maybe just distinguish, water is crystal clear and extremely important for hydration, but our body needs particularly electrolytes like salt, potassium, magnesium for the water to be absorbed into our cells and to be used throughout our body. So you take out salt and we stop needing water, so to speak, because we don't know how to actually absorb it into the body. So electrolytes, like Hyro, for example, they're not new technology. It's not a new ingredient we've just discovered. It's been around since humans kind of became around, and even before that. So what I found though in the market is these electrolytes were often found in lower amounts than we actually need, particularly in sports drinks. They were loaded with sugars and artificial ingredients. And the big mainstream marketing of Coca-Cola and Pepsi I found there was an opportunity for more of a younger, innovative, disruptive brand that had a more scientifically backed formulation in terms of actually the right amount of electrolytes, which is a lot more than what's found in traditional sports drinks. And then from a zero sugar and all natural, I wanted to keep it a very clean product, something that I would have and feel proud about giving to my family as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really key. We went into that era of going, you should be drinking 2 to 3 liters of water a day. And you get to a certain point where you're like, is any of this actually staying in?
Yeah, and
After many
that's the
trips to the
case.
bathroom, you're like, is this actually impacting me?
Yeah, and a lot of the brain fatigue and headaches and things like that is literally because we're not absorbing the water into our body and using it properly. So, look, you can definitely have too much salt if you have massive excess of it, but most people are having too little.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's great learnings. So Peter Baines, Hands Across the Water founder, is about to embark on a 1,400-kilometer run through Thailand in
Wow.
26 days, averaging 60 kilometers a day. What's going to be really critical for him in hydration, taking into consideration the heat, the humidity, and keeping hydrated?
Yeah, it's an unbelievable feat. We were proud to sponsor another guy, Sean Bell, who ran around Australia, and it was a similar challenge of how do we keep his body hydrated. So in each sachet of Hyro, there's 500 milligrams of sodium, 250 potassium, 100 milligrams of magnesium. On an average person who's working out, they're going to lose somewhere between 500 and 750 milligrams of sodium per hour through their
Oh,
sweat. So if he's doing hours and hours of training, per day or running per day, he'll probably need, 3, 5, maybe, sometimes Sean was having up to 10 per day to be replacing the sodium, or else his body's literally going to break down and not be able to hydrate the cells, and his muscles will break down as well. So hydration, Maslow's hierarchy, if you think about what we need as basic humans, we need water and hydration more than we need food, and we need that before we need shelter and things. So it's right up there in terms of the most important part of the race. Ahead of nutrition, you can kind of survive without food longer than you can without water. So I'm looking forward to following his journey, that's for sure, and making, from afar, wishing he keeps hydrated, definitely, and get enough
yeah,
salt. Yeah.
absolutely. And what do you think the most common mistakes that people make when they're talking about hydration, or they're starting to work out and they're not factoring in that hydration?
I'll definitely say what we loosely touched on there, where people thinking water is enough. A lot of people are just going to have water during a race or after workout, and then kind of carry on with their day. Maybe they have a coffee, and then maybe they have an alcohol beverage later. It's like that's going to make you more dehydrated. So I think replacing those electrolytes, just before you run in, can help whilst you're running, the water actually being absorbed. Or if you don't have that chance afterwards, the first thing I'd be doing is having an electrolyte beverage post exercise. And then the other one would be the belief that electrolytes are for just athletes or just endurance runners. And it's something that we need to be having on a daily basis as part of our kind of healthy habits. It's like brushing our teeth. You want to making sure you're getting salts in your water. And that's going to just massively improve everyday life. You not just kidneys and your digestive system be working better because you're probably hydrated, but your skin improves, your sleep improves, your energy improves. It's like the magic pill we've all been looking for is like add some salt in your water, and with Hyro you get some delicious flavor as well with it.
That's the thing. I think, you're busy working lives and you're like, yeah, when I get to the office, I'll fill my water bottle up, or I'll do this. And then before you know it, it's lunchtime and you've barely finished your glass. And it is. And it get to the end of the day, and the amount of times you'll say, oh, I've got a bit of a headache. My husband's like, have you drunk enough water today?
Yeah.
It
Yeah, just
always
four
comes back
coffees,
to
no water.
hydration. Absolutely. And I think that was sort of the question I was going to ask is, what are those strategies of hydration, and whether you're doing this endurance challenge like Pete, or you're just joining this challenge and giving it a go for the first time, like, should you be taking your Hyro first thing in the morning through the workout? I mean, you touched on it loosely, but is there certain strategies that people should be considering in routine?
Yeah, I'd definitely get it out of the way first thing. Like most people are waking up dehydrated. The stat that I've seen through research is up to 80% of Australians are dehydrated on a daily basis. So most of
Wow.
us are not getting enough water and salts in our water. So the best thing is you lose between 1 to 2 kilos of body weight or fluids or liters of fluids overnight, because if ideally we haven't ate or drunk over 8 hours. So first thing, replace those fluids, particularly water, and then add salty water is going to absorb that into your bloodstream straight away. Definitely recommend doing it before coffee. Ideally, if you can hold out your coffee for 90 minutes, an hour and 20, so 120 minutes, an hour and 2 hours, you're going to be well better off. Like wake up, have your Hyro, have your electrolytes or salt in your water, and then have your caffeine a bit later on, and you're going to be feeling way better for it. And then I would say have a second one or have a second top up of electrolytes, not trying to just jam Hyro down everyone, but this is more hydration strategies.
Yeah.
I would definitely have, if you are going out for workout, ideally based on if it's a run or a gym, have electrolytes either during or post or beforehand, but around, I guess, that workout to top up what you're going to lose out from the workout.
Yeah, that's really cool. And
And last, I would say, like, water for a lot of people have been told since they were young is something they should be drinking. To your point, like drink your 3 to 5 or 5 to 8 glasses, and then like no one does it, and 4 to 5 out of people aren't doing it. And it's like, well, why not? And for me, it's like, well, it doesn't taste very good. It's kind of boring. Something like adding Hyro to it can add some fun, add some flavor, add some function as well. But it's more enjoyable to drink a delicious, orange mango flavored glass of water than just something out of the tap. So I think just having the flavor in there can be a good cue for someone to get that craving to go back and have some more every day.
Absolutely. And I think, generationally, a lot of my friendship group, we talk about how we didn't even take water bottles to school. That was bubblers. It was the lunchtime bubbler. That was your sip here or there. Yeah, no wonder we're all dehydrated. We didn't really start it, but the kids today are all over it. Where everyone's got their insulated water bottles as their, support little crutch as they go everywhere, which is great. But you do get to a point in the day where you're like, want something else, and it will, it gives you something else to reach for that's really enjoyable, flavorsome, and it's not that can of soft drink, or it's not something that's going to help you crash later in the day. It's really nice to be able to incorporate something with a bit of flavor. That is
and that's why I love the sachet, to be honest, where 5 years ago even I wouldn't imagine this as a super scalable business model, because not everyone has their vessel or their I guess bottle with them, where now the vast majority of people have a water bottle with them. So now you've got something to put the sachet in.
Exactly.
My previous life was selling a ready to drink, which was in a can, you could just knock it back straight away, but then very hard to bring around with you. You can put this just in your backpack or in your handbag or have on your top desk, and at any point you need it, it's ready to go. You don't need to worry about having to walk to the service station and picking it up.
Exactly, and the convenience factor, impacts Pete too. He can take all this with him. Doesn't weigh a lot in his suitcase. Doesn't have to have access to anything other than cold water, and can have that readily accessible no matter where he is on this run. So it's the convenience factor is definitely helpful when you're trying to do the right thing, and you don't have to have that hurdle of going, oh well, I don't have this, and I don't have, all the things to do to lighten up. Yeah, for sure. And, talking about your experience in going into the marathon and people joining this challenge, what tips and tricks do you have, or what did you incorporate in your training to get you ready to run longer distances, or to even start out if you haven't done it before?
Yeah, great question. And I was blessed to work with one of the other coaches in this program, Matt Abel, who's thankfully a Hyro ambassador as well. But
he's also Pete's running coach.
There you go. He's also Pete's running coach. So I think working with an expert who can understand your base, where you are in your kind of running journey, kind of understand your goals, and then do the appropriate programming and guidance to get you up to where your goals are. A lot of people might jump in too much too quickly, get injured, or be disheartened by how hard it is, for example. So definitely for me, I used to just every run would be 10 out of 10 hard. It would be way too fast. I would then not feel like going for it again, because in my head, I'm like, oh, I got to go do that again. When like 50% of my sessions, training for those longer distance runs are, a lot lower heart rate, sometimes embarrassingly slow to start, but you build the heart rate base and you build your cardiovascular system up. So then when you do go for longer distances, you can maintain a lower heart rate, which makes the run so much more enjoyable. And you're not panting for breath. You're not dying at every breath, wanting to stop. It's something you can kind of take in the scenery a bit more. To be honest, on a race day like New York Marathon, I can't really remember the last 10 Ks, but at least my training runs I can enjoy a bit more these days.
Yeah, I think that's really, really key, isn't it? Is when you take on these challenges, is to pace yourself, and it is really daunting. Particularly if you haven't done it before. How do you get started, and or you're taking your run to the next level? And the consistent message has been about consistency and sort of setting it slow and but consistently increasing and pushing yourself and giving yourself the opportunity. You don't have to be the fastest. Pete said it's not a race. He's not out there to break any time records, but it's about just putting the Ks on the clock and trying to set yourself a challenge.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's the 10% rule of, not increasing the total distance you run per week more than 10%. Like that's a healthy growth rate to kind of aim for. And whilst that might not seem much, if you go from 10 to 12, 10 to 11 Ks, but the next week you kind of keep adding and adding. And after 6 months, you're running a lot more in that compounding impact of growth.
Yeah, I love that. So our Run to Remember challenge, you have 20 Ks or 60 Ks to complete within 26 days. So they're the individual challenges, or you can bring a team or a group or a run club together to do 1,400 kilometers and follow Pete along. So there's lots of opportunities for people to get involved, and anyone a part of the challenge gets these coaches boxes as well. But the goal for the Run to Remember is fundraising, and that's for us to reach $1 million. And the impact of these funds will go to giving the life of the kids of Hands a life of choice, and being able to provide some opportunities for them outside of education, some future career opportunities. How does that align with you personally and professionally in regards to community? I know you're a dad. Through your business and your run communities, how does that align and that impact that this challenge has on you?
I love challenges. So I think having something in the books, having something in the calendar to work towards, to be part of, to feel like you're kind of making progress towards, I think that adds a lot of meaning to life. And I think, I'm at my desk far too many hours a day, and actually having a really good reason to go outside, to be social, to feel like I'm, with the donations and the charity aspect of this, giving back to something that's greater than myself as well, as it's makes this from a selfish thing to do, aesthetically, or from a vanity metric on Strava, to going, hey, I'm actually making other people's day and potentially other people's lives from the donation perspective. So it adds a whole nother element to the running, which I'm all about, because you can run 5Ks and you can do it with friends and you can do it for a good cause, and it becomes a far greater experience than just the meters you're going.
Absolutely. And I think, the community aspect of bringing people together, and, as you said, there's so many run clubs out there that, you can join and really find your people and bring that community piece together and encourage each other. And it's, whether you're doing 5Ks or an ultra marathon, there's people there supporting you on your journey.
Yeah, I went for, I'm often run with different groups and run clubs, and I think you run easier, but you run faster at the same time. You kind of hold each other accountable because you see each other every Thursday, every Friday, every Saturday, whatever it may be. And then, you've almost, instead of going to the pub and having a beer and catching up with friends, it's like, well, you can do that over a run, and then you have a Hyro and a coffee afterwards and watch the sunrise or watch the sunset. Or, I think it's one, a way more positive and healthy experience, but two, it kind of leaves you feeling the cup is full, your life is full, compared to sometimes if you have too many beers at the pub, you might be regretting that the next day.
Exactly. I think it's that looking at health and fitness at that really holistic aspect, right? There's so many layers to it. It's your mindset, it's your physical endurance, it's the mental capacity, and then the nutrition and hydration. It all plays its key part, and that's something we really wanted to highlight in this run and this run challenge, and that everything plays a part. And if we can bring people together to share that message, that's the ultimate goal.
Nice, I love that.
Is there anything that Hyro is working on, anything exciting, anything we should be looking out for that's coming up?
Look, I'd say always keep an eye on our Instagram and our website. That's where our new products are coming soon. So, sneak peek, we are launching some new flavors, but for a lot of people who haven't tried it yet, we are brand new. Definitely head to the website, drinkhyro.com, and get yourself. We do free shipping and sends it pretty quickly. We have just launched a new YouTube series where we're kind of documenting the journey of building Hyro, and we're kind of releasing an episode every week of what's going on in the world of Hyro and how to build a brand from scratch and all the ups and downs and the raw challenges of that. So whilst also trying to be a dad and run marathons and all the other stuff that we do. So check that out if you're interested in more the business side of things and how that all works.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. And I think, we've all got many things on our plates. So always sharing skills and leadership is always interesting and beneficial as well. But thank you so much for your time today, Steve. I'd like to share with people that, we encourage people to participate in the Run to Remember Challenge. We can sign up. There's opportunities to fundraise and there's prizes to be won. If running is not your thing, you can sponsor one of Pete's kilometres. For only $50, you go into the draw to win of one of two $5,000 cash prizes, which is going to be really handy at the end of this year. Or donate to Pete and the Run to Remember. We'll share all the links in the podcast today, but your support is really beneficial and really does make the difference. No matter big or small, we really appreciate anybody's support. But thank you so much for your time today, Steve, and sharing your advice and your insights and staying hydrated.
Thank you, Amanda. And, just super impressed with what you guys are doing and what Peter's doing. And if I can help in any small way, I'm keen to get involved and stay involved.
Amazing. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Amanda.